Well, hi there, and welcome back to The Last Wanderer of Mars. I'll let you know Thanksgiving is over, and next up we have the Christmas holidays. So today, on The Last Wanderer of Mars, I'm going to talk about something I usually don't talk about, and that's films. The last time I did a film show was at the beginning of the year when I did a show about my favorite movie monsters. Well, this isn't movie monsters this time. This is Christmas movies. That's right after Halloween, television and the theaters are inundated with a million different Christmas movies. In fact, I don't think the Hallmark Channel would even exist if not for rom-coms about Christmas. Well, what I've got for you here today is my top 21 Christmas movies to watch this year. I made it 21 because this year is, of course, 2020. And 2020 is sort of like a Hoover vacuum cleaner. In fact, here's the soundtrack from it. Listen. That's right, it really sucked. So in hoping that 2021 is better, we have the 21 best Christmas movies on my list. Now, these are my favorite movies. They might not be yours. You won't find the Polar Express on them because I thought it was lame. You certainly will not find Elf on the list because I do not like Will Ferrell movies. I'm sorry if that offends you. Go watch something else. Oh, yeah, Will Ferrell. What does that sound again? Yeah, he sucks too. These are my favorite 21 favorite films, right? Now, you also won't see it's a Charlie Brown Christmas or How the Grinch Stole Christmas or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or any of those because those were television specials. I did think about putting the Star Wars special in there, but then, wow. Why would anybody watch that if they didn't have to? Although I do actually own a copy of it, I hate to admit. No, these are all films that were shown at the theater or made for TV. Now, and especially, they're ones that you can find on one of the streaming services, that you'll find on one of the TV stations, or that if you got the time, you can dig out of the Walmart $3.74 DVD piles. So, one of those things. So, all of these will be available to you somehow. That's why they made the list. So, let's get right into it. Number 21, White Christmas. Now, I realize White Christmas was a typical musical from the early 1950s, late 40s and early 1950s. It was actually supposed to be the sequel to Holiday Inn, but Fred Astaire wasn't available, so they brought in Danny Kaye instead. It really isn't a Christmas movie because it's not really about Christmas. It's about two war buddies who make it really big on Broadway and in the nightclub circuit, who meet a couple of girls, end up in New England, and decide that they want to help out a general who's down on his luck, even though the general is played by Dean Jagger, isn't even vaguely likable. But this is Bing Crosby, who was a giant star then, and Danny Kaye, who took the role of that should have been taken by Fred Astaire. I realize that it really doesn't translate well into the 21st century. And the only reason it's on the list at all as number 21 is because it's kind of a tradition to watch it. Plus, the dance number, The Best Things Happen While You Dance, is just unbelievably good. Before moving on to the one thing I did wonder about with White Christmas, at the very final scene, not to give anything away, but the final scene, it finally snows, and it's snowing in Vermont is a big deal through the whole film. It finally snows, so on the set of this expensive show, they throw open the doors so that you can see the snow outside, and it's just wonderful. And the one thing I always thought ever since I was a kid is like, oh, okay, in order for it to snow, wouldn't it be in like the 30s or the 20s maybe? And weren't they spending a fortune at this bistro to heat everything while people are having dinner? And wouldn't throwing those doors open sort of freeze everybody out? I guess you're not supposed to ask these kinds of questions, but that's what occurred to me. So anyway, number 21 is White Christmas. Number 20. Now, number 20 is a Santa Claus movie. There's a whole lot of Santa Claus movies on this list. In fact, let me look at my thing here. 8 of these movies have something to do with Santa Claus. 3 are direct rom-coms. 4 are thrillers. 4 are direct forward comedies that don't have anything to do with Santa Claus. There's 1 horror movie, and 2 of them are animated. This is the first of our Santa Claus movies. This is a movie so bad that, yikes, most people can't even sit through all of it. However, in 2007, they released it on DVD, probably because it fell into the public domain, so almost everybody I know got a copy of this film that year. It's none other than Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Yes, I realize this is really, really bad, but it does have, what's the guy's name? Topo. He does come up with a tickle ray during this. Oh, God. Okay, the story here is just so simple. The children of Mars have become lethargic from watching Earth TV, of all things. And so the Martians decide that the only way to snap them out and make them all happy again is to come to Earth, to invade Earth, and kidnap Santa Claus and bring him back to Mars. I'm not kidding. That is the story. It's so terrible, it's almost really good. Santa Claus versus the Martian is number 20. I'm sure you'll run across this someplace. Elvira actually plays this once a year, if you can see one of the channels that's got her on it, for obvious reasons. All right, moving on. Number 19, second on our list. That second on our list, it's about Santa Claus. First on our list, second on our list, it's a comedy, and also the first on our list, it's animated. It's The Grinch. Oh, that's right. A couple years ago, 2018, they made an animated version of The Grinch, and this is like the third time because How the Grinch Stole Christmas was, of course, one of the most famous animated films ever made from the Chuck Jones studios. Everybody remembers that the voice of Boris Karloff was the Grinch. Songs by Thurl Ravenscroft, who was the voice of Tony the Tiger, and you also hear him singing Grim Grinning Ghosts in the Haunted Mansion. For a half-an-hour animated show based on Dr. Seuss characters, it was awesome. Then later, a few, decades and decades later, of course, they came out with the Jim Carrey version, a live version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I never really cared for that one, though. But then, 2 years ago, this animated version came out. Now, what really makes this one remarkable is they got Benedict Cumberbatch to do the, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, star from Marvel superheroes that did Doctor Strange and on BBC TV played Sherlock Holmes. He does the voice of the Grinch himself. And just based on that distinctive voice alone, even though it's the same story as in the prior two things, it gives a whole new dimension to How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Plus, the 3D animation is delightful. So, yep, that's number 19 is The Grinch. Number 18. Now, this is called The Holiday. This is probably, did I say 3? No, it's a direct rom-com. It's got Cameron Diaz, it's got Jack Black, and Jude Law, and it's just a direct romantic comedy revolving around Christmas time. I love it. I was going to put Christmas in the Wild with Rob Lowe in there as well, but I only really didn't want that many rom-coms because, let's face it, you can watch the Hallmark Channel if you want that kind of thing. But number 18 is The Holiday. Number 17 on my list. Now this comes into a controversial point. I'm sure a lot of people will not agree with this as even being a Christmas movie, but it is Batman Returns. Now Batman Returns was the second outing of Tim Burton as director of The Dark Knight, which started out with Batman in 1989, starring Michael Keaton, of course. Burton directed him that time. Burton came back and directed him in 1992, as I recall, in Batman Returns. Now, the reason this is a Christmas movie is because it takes place on Christmas. A lot of the action is around the city's Christmas tree, where the Penguin, played by Danny DeVito, his gang attacks and destroys the tree and kills Miss Christmas and all that, while Batman is playing around with Catwoman, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, who is, by the way, the second best Catwoman in all the Batman ones, just behind Julie Newmar. Anyway, it all takes place at Christmas time and in the snow. Plus, there's things in this movie that are just priceless. Like Alfred and Bruce Wayne, who live together in this giant mansion, just getting bitchy like a couple of old guys together. Look at this particular scene.
It's ghastly grotesque. But let's not forget about repairing a Batmobile. There's security to consider. It's not as though we can take it to any old Joe's body shop, is it, sir?
Security? Who let Vicky Vale into the Batcave? I'm sitting there working and I turn around, there she is. Oh, hi Vic, come on in.
Yeah, hi Vic, welcome to the cave. I still remember seeing that at the theater. What a great thing. So, anyway, 17, Batman Begins. Number 16 is like one of everybody's favorite. The Griswolds come back, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. This is like a sequel to National Lampoon's Vacation, which introduced the Griswolds, lead character played by Chevy Chase. In this one, the Griswolds are holding a Christmas party at their house. They're bringing over the relatives, and they're the worst relatives in the world. I mean, they're nightmare relative visits. It's the kind of thing that you would absolutely hate if you had to go through it. And of course, National Lampoon wrote it that way specifically. There are several other films on our list that have the exact same formula of bringing in the world's worst families. But Vacation did it first, and in some ways the best. Who could forget that scene where Chevy Chase finally has had enough of everybody, including his relatives, and he tears down his decorations and kicks the reindeer. Oh, man. So, number 16, Christmas Vacation. Now, number 15 on the list has the same formula of that bad mix of family that's invited out to be there on Christmas Day. In fact, I actually thought when I saw this that whoever made this film obviously saw Vacation because the relatives are so similar. However, did I say one? Yes. This is the horror movie that's on our list. It's called Krampus. Now, in this little bummer of a film, the kid that's there, he gets disillusioned with Christmas. He says, I wish something had never happened, which triggers Santa Claus's evil twin Krampus to come and completely destroy his family. There is lots of amusing parts in this. There's lots of special effects. It is truly a horror movie, though. I never miss it. And, spoiler alert, it has a really bummer ending. But that's Krampus, number 15. Number 14 is not a traditional, it's our second rom-com, in a way. It's also raunchy as hell. It's based on a former film. It stars Mila Kunis, who I've always just really had a total movie crush on, because she's such a babe. But it's called Bad Moms Christmas. Now, Bad Moms Christmas takes off where Bad Moms left off, to where you have this trio of girls that are moms, but they're not traditional. They kind of just blow everything away. Now it's Christmas time, and they have to deal with their mothers. Now, the lead character, Mila Kunis' mom, is, I forget the actress, I had it written down here someplace, but it's the same actress who plays Leonard Hofstadter's mom on The Big Bang Theory. And she plays the exact same role. I mean, there's no difference at all. You would almost think that, your son, Leonard couldn't have you over, so you're going to do this? It's the same formula movie. In fact, actually, if you study it scene by scene, it's the exact movie as Bad Moms was. But now it's Christmas time. It's a little heavier on the profanity, and there's some scenes in it that are pretty gross, because it's like if you did it if you did it the first time, you got to do it even more the second time. So it is kind of raunchy. It's not one to have the kids in the room for, but it's not. I kind of like it. It's number 14. It's Bad Moms Christmas. 13 now is the first of our dramas, and it goes outside the box as much as Bad Moms Christmas does. It's called El Camino Christmas. It's a Netflix film that's still on the streaming service. By the way, Bad Moms Christmas is on that same streaming service too. But El Camino Christmas stars Tim Allen, who is good God, Tim Allen is no stranger to Christmas films. You've seen him in the Santa Claus. You've seen him in that terrible thing with Jamie Lee Curtis, Christmas of the Krumps or something like that. So he's done a ton of these things. In this one, it's a total departure from anything you've actually seen him do. He actually plays in this film a drunken Vietnam veteran hiding a terrible secret, as this whole group of people who by accident end up in a liquor store that the police think are being robbed, and all the police in the world are surrounding it and shooting bullets into it on Christmas Eve. This is a very unusual film. It's very well acted. What's the name of the star down here someplace? This one, it not only has Tim Allen in it, but it also has Jessica Alba, who you might remember from a million different things, including the one I remember, The Fantastic Four, where she played the Invisible Girl. What is the guy's name? Because it was an actor that played it that I wasn't familiar with. Oh, Luke Grimes. Luke Grimes plays the lead role. This is a total drama that you watch, but it's so well done and so well acted. I mean, God bless. Netflix films have gone so far from where the streaming service first began to some of the most excellent things put on film. So, number 13 is definitely El Camino Christmas. Number 13, it is another drama. Definitely another drama, another one that's controversial as far as, number 12, yeah, as far as Christmas movies go, because a lot of people will disagree that this actually is a Christmas movie, but it's Lethal Weapon. Oh yes, Lethal Weapon. With Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, a buddy cop movie. It was made in like 1987. And it takes place right around Christmas. You know, as these two cops meet each other. Danny Glover is a cop that's just about ready for retirement. Mel Gibson plays Martin Riggs, who's lost his wife and is just right on the ragged edge. They come together and become a team, and oh God, it's great. It's one of my favorite action films, and really rates up there. Like I said, it's number 12. It's awesome. One thing I also remember about this film is, spoiler alert, when they try and escape after they've been kidnapped, the two of them, they have to run through this underground nightclub on Hollywood Boulevard. And you see them going, they shoot the place up and everything. Well, why that strikes a chord with me is back in the 90s, my son Christian decided that I needed to see what his fascination with ska music was at the time. So he got a couple tickets and dragged me down to that same place to see a band called No Doubt with Gwen Stefani. This was before any of her radio hits and before anybody knew who No Doubt was. It was just a ska band on the same program with another band called Skank and Pickle. But at least No Doubt was the main event. But I still remember that in that same underground Hollywood Boulevard nightclub. Yeah. So Lethal Weapon, definitely worth a view. It's an incredible movie. It's the best of the series. It's actually spawned 3 sequels, and from everything I've read now, Lethal Weapon 5 is currently under production, which Lethal Weapon 5 is going to be called Lethal Finale. So, yeah. Alright, that brings us to number 11. Number 11 is a Bill Murray flick. I'm sure we've all seen it. It's called Scrooged. Now this is a send-up, of course, of Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Only Bill Murray plays a television executive that's putting out a version of A Christmas Carol on Christmas night, and the ghosts come and all the rest of it. Somebody online described this movie. I love this description too. Millionaires are terrorized by ghosts in an attempt to raise wages for their employees. That's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. But this is Bill Murray at the height of his career. This is classic Bill Murray. He's so good in this. It's funny. It's fresh. It's got Bobcat Goldthwait, I think was his name. Was a comedian who was really hot at the time. Since then, I've seen him at an improv club in Orlando, believe it or not, a couple of years ago. So, but it's good. Yeah, no doubt. You don't want to miss that. And that brings us up to the top 10. The top 10 already. Number 10. Number 10, number 10, number 10. Number 10 is The Kid Who Fights Off the Crooks. Right? It's Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. Now, you know, I mean, this one is just like, what can you say? It's funny. It's every parent's nightmare. Once again, you've got the whole collaboration, the whole collection of relatives. In this case, they're all going to go on a trip someplace, and mom miscounts all of the kids as they get on the plane. Macaulay Culkin, who's like 8 or 9, he gets left behind. And not only does he have to take care of himself, which he proves that he can do, but he's got to fight off 2 of the most bumbling crooks in the world. The movie is funny as hell. It's one of everybody's favorite. It's Home Alone. It spawned a couple of sequels, which the first one was an exact duplicate of the second. The third one was just dismal. You'll notice that none of my best movies on this list include sequels because of that. You know, sequels are just a cash-in. Number 9. Number 9. It's the movie that started the idea of can an action movie actually be a Christmas movie? And it's the movie that spawned the line, yeah, come to LA, have a couple laughs. Yeah, it's Bruce Willis in Die Hard. Now, what can you say? Bruce Willis with hair when he was young, you know. Alan Rickman in probably his most iconic role of all. It's Die Hard. It's the Nakatomi building. It's action personified. It's number 9. Yeah, number 8. Number 8, moving on. Second Tim Burton film, and second animated film on the list as well. And that's The Nightmare Before Christmas. You know, when this one first came out, I thought that it was actually 3D animation, but I found out later that this is Tim Burton actually did this himself. It's claymation. This whole film is actually old-fashioned claymation, just like was done in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, that special made for TV for a while. I was blown away. I've seen a bunch of different versions of this. You know, and it's another Santa Claus film, right? The King of Halloween gets bored with Halloween itself. He stumbles into Christmas Town, which is, you know, another holiday that's in this whole realm of holidays there. Can't understand what it is, and so he decides to take it over himself, and so, you know, the Pumpkin King himself tries to become Santa Claus. It's awesome. If you haven't seen it before, you've got to see it. I've seen it at the theater, I've seen it on TV, I've seen it on VHS, I've seen it on DVD. I actually saw it a few years ago when somebody tried to make it into 3D, tried to make a 3D version of it, and it didn't. The attempt to convert it into 3D really didn't work that well, but I saw it that way too. I mean, yeah, Jack Skellington and the rest of it, come on. Sells a bunch of Christmas ornaments, sells a whole bunch of Halloween decorations. It's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Here's something pretty cool. I mean, this year you wouldn't get to do it because the absolute idiot governor of California won't allow the theme parks to be open. You know, he needs to ruin everybody's businesses to keep us safe from coronavirus. But if Disneyland was opened every December, they transform the Haunted Mansion into The Nightmare Before Christmas. And it's pretty cool the way they do it. I mean, they take a lot of the stuff out, they put new animatronics in, but as you're going through the traditional Haunted Mansion, you actually get to see the story of The Nightmare Before Christmas. Very, very cool. Anyway, that is number 8. Number 7 is one that everybody will probably come over and kick me in the head for, going, what the hell would you pick that as number 7 for? But it's Ernest Saves Christmas. I'm sure everybody remembers Ernest. You know, he's always got a conflict with Vern. His name is Lynn Varney, I think was his name. And during the 80s, he got very, very popular on TV, the Ernest character himself. You know, the bumbling guy, Ernest. Hey, Vern. Always talking to his friend Vern. Hey, Vern, look at this, you know. He got very popular. He did a whole slew of movies, and one of which was Ernest Saves Christmas. Once again, Santa's in distress. Santa wants to retire. He's trying to find the new Santa Claus. He loses his bag of toys to a vagabond girl who, you know, wants to just kind of turn him in for everything. Ernest is there to save the day. Typical kind of Christmas dinosaur story, but I don't know. There's an 80s feel. There's an 80s feel to this. It's really cool. So, yep. Ernest Saves Christmas is on my list at number 7. That's right. And Elf is not. Number 6. Number 6. The Santa Claus. Now Tim Burton's back again. This time he's not a drunken Vietnam vet. This time he's a guy. He's an executive of a toy company. He's got his son over with him on Christmas Eve. They see Santa on top of the roof. Santa falls off and gets killed. He puts on the Santa suit, and guess who becomes the new Santa Claus? This has become a classic of Christmas films. It truly has. Tim Burton is so good in this role. His son is everything plays so well in this that you actually start to believe Santa Claus could be real and it would happen just this way. So, yes. So, what are we at? Number 6 is the Santa Claus. And this is not the last Santa Claus movie on our list. I mean, look what's happened to Santa so far on our list. Santa's gotten kidnapped twice. He's died, right? Oh man, people just love it. You know, he gets put on trial because that's coming up. Okay, so number 5. We're into the top 5 now. Oh, number 5. Number 5. A Christmas Story. Peter Billingsley plays the lead role in this, and Darren McGavin is his dad. It's a Gene Shepard story, and Gene Shepard wrote these homey stories for Popular Mechanics magazine. Nobody could figure that out except somebody bought them. They liked the story and they put them in there. So all these Gene Shepard reflective stories about what it was like to be young just before the World War II era all showed up in Popular Mechanics. Well, there's a whole bunch of them here. The one that comes out the most of all, and that is the Red Ryder BB gun. And the idea that if you get one, you'll shoot your eye out. I was at Walmart not long ago, and they had the Red Ryder BB gun in the box that's shown in the film that you can buy. People love that movie. That's probably why it is number 5 on our list. It's Christmas Story. Brings us up to number 4. Number 4 is an older film. It's been remade a bunch of times, but the original is still the best. Starring Natalie Wood when she was a child. It's A Miracle on 34th Street. Now, Miracle on 34th Street is this great story that starts out at the Macy's Thanksgiving parade, which is famous. I mean, here in Orlando, they recreated it at Universal Studios every year. It's just like everybody knows about that parade. I doubt they're doing it this year, though, because thank you, coronavirus, you piece of... Anyway, so, at the Macy's parade, the Santa Claus that shows up is drunk. Gee, what a surprise this time of year. And they hire this man walking down the street who claims his name is Kris Kringle. And throughout the whole thing, he keeps claiming that he's Santa Claus, and he keeps wanting to prove it to himself. One of the store psychologists, however, who's trying to make a name for himself, decides that he's nuts, decides that he's dangerous for children, and tries to put him into a home. Until a lawyer picks up his story, and they try and prove in court that this is the one and only Santa Claus. A Miracle on 34th Street. It is a classic. You'll see, even the remakes are classic. It's just such a cool story. And that's probably why it's number 4. Number 3. Number 3 is probably one of the reasons that we celebrate Christmas the way we do now in the first place. This is a version of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Now, this version is put out variously as A Christmas Carol or under the name of Scrooged. But it was made in 1954, and it stars an English actor named Alastair Sim. It is probably the finest version of A Christmas Carol that you'll ever see. And of course, we talked about this before with Scrooged. It's the story of Ebenezer Scrooge, who's a penny-pinching miser who's just had a terrible life and is just bitter as could be, who's visited by 3 ghosts on Christmas Eve, who show him that, yes, his life is a misery, but it could have been better, and he could be a better man. It's, like I said, it's probably the most told Christmas tale of all. It's been remade so many times, but this is the best. This is the finest one. It's old, it's black and white, it's made in England. It's A Christmas Carol with Alastair Sim. Number 2. Okay, number 2, I'm looking around now to make sure nobody's got a brick that they're going to throw at me. Number 2 is a movie made back in the 90s. It was made for television. Actually, it was made for Fox. And it was shown then. Since then, it's shown up a bunch of different times, and it's available on DVD right now. It is The Munsters, Scary Little Christmas. That's right. I mean, okay, this is my list. I can say whatever I like, right? But this is The Munsters, that wonderful 60s sitcom that starred Fred Gwynne. Now, he's long gone, and so is the rest of the cast. They have a brand new cast for the Munsters for this show. But all of them take to the role so well that you look past the fact that these aren't the original cast members. And the story is simple. The Munsters have moved from Transylvania to Southern California. They're now on Mockingbird Lane. Little Eddie is really bummed because he can't have a Transylvania Christmas. Grandpa goes down into his lab. He tries to create snow to make Eddie happy, and instead of that, he ends up transporting Santa Claus into the lab. And now they can't get rid of him. Meanwhile, a couple of Santa's elves decide that they need to take a break and a day off, and so they turn him into a fruitcake. And that's just part of what goes on. It's delightful. It actually has the reindeers replaced by a biker gang. It's The Munsters' Scary Little Christmas. Now, you can get this one on DVD. I know because I dug my copy out of a pile of DVDs at Walmart. So it is available. The Munsters' Scary Little Christmas. And that brings us to number 1. It's time for number 1. This is it. Here it comes, number 1. Thank you, Dr. Demento. I just stole that from you. Number 1 is The Christmas Chronicles. This is a Netflix film that came out last year. Stars Kurt Russell as Santa Claus in an unlikely role. Nobody would expect that Snake Plissken, I heard she was dead. Anyway, that would take the character of Snake Plissken and make him Santa Claus. But Kurt Russell takes this role so well and does so much with it. It is, actually, that's why it's number 1. It's the most delightful Christmas film I have ever seen. It's better than everything else on this list, The Christmas Chronicles. And as we speak, in fact, yesterday, they just released The Christmas Chronicles 2. I haven't seen it, and it wouldn't be on this list anyway, because like I said, this list is all originals, no sequels involved. But Santa Claus, as played by Kurt Russell, is almost the role he was born to play. I mean, think about Captain Ron as Santa Claus. Think of Jack Burton, Big Trouble in Little China, only as Santa Claus. And you think of where I'm going to. Kurt Russell is delightful in this. The one jailhouse scene in this movie where he does a rock and roll musical instruments appear, that's worth the price of admission right there. So, number 1, The Christmas Chronicles. Definitely see it. So at any rate, that is my top 21 Christmas movies. Anyway, happy holidays, everybody. I hope everyone has a safe and sane Christmas. I hope this coronavirus goes away. I hope all the politicians, burn in hell, because that's what they deserve for putting us all in this position in the first place. And all that said, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Passover, whatever. Join me next time for our next feature on The Last Wanderer of Mars. Please subscribe, like us, share this video with whoever you have. Adios, muchachos. Feliz Navidad.